So this is the current view out of the BMW as we work underneath the front dash trying to swap out these pedals. Not supremely comfortable. I'm a larger gentleman. I kind of barely fit in the Z4 under normal circumstances, and this is somehow much worse. I will say this is a marked improvement over having the seat in here, as that was nearly impossible. So, you know, we do what we can around here, I guess. Alright gang, so here's the deal. Due to some import issues, or perhaps memory issues on my camera, the purpose of this video, or the introduction, was lost, so we're going to have to ad-lib here a bit. So the project for today was to replace the bushings in the clutch and brake pedals on the Z4. Initially I thought this would be a fun little mod. The parts for it are relatively affordable, especially if you search around on eBay or someplace like that. So I thought, for a couple bucks, how hard can it be? Make a nice little improvement to the pedal feel in the Z4. Little did I know how much fun, let's say, this project ended up being, how much hassle it would be, and then to top that all off, my before video where I showed just how much play and wobble there is in the pedals was corrupted and I couldn't import. So apologies for the boring intro, and with that said, let's dive into what it takes to remove the pedals from a 2004 BMW Z4 and replace the bushings with some upgraded parts. Okay, so we're here underneath the dash. It is an interesting and very tightly packed place to be, but here we are nonetheless. And now we get to try to figure out how to remove these clutch and brake pedals. So certain spots, like there's this little kind of connector there, or latching plate cover thing. So I know we've got to remove at least a couple of those to get these out. Looks like maybe some other fittings along the way. There's a spring on the backside of the clutch cylinder, or the clutch pedal rather. Who even knows with the brake pedal? All kinds of fun stuff in store from the looks of it, but that's what we do here, so let's get at it. Okay, so for anybody out there considering doing this, my advice would be don't. But if you do, here's what I did. So this is the clutch pedal. I've basically got it out now. So I was able to get this spring, and I actually pulled out the little bushing from that hole there in the clutch pedal. And then if you pop off that brass bracket that was on the end up there, you can just start wiggling this enough to pop out the bushing that holds in that side. And then that lets you shuffle this over to the right, just far enough to buy you some breathing room on this plunger for the clutch. There's a little pop-out pin, which is somewhere I can't possibly reach without moving a whole bunch. Okay, there's this little guy, which we'll look at better in the light of day. But you gotta pop him out, and then that allows you to get the clutch pin, or the clutch plunger, free. And then you'll have to run a screwdriver through, well, there's how easy it is once you get this all done. You'll have to run a screwdriver through this opening and use this bracket here to pry it back. And that'll give you enough clearance to move it out of this little pocket on the back side of the clutch pedal. And then you expose everything, and sure enough, here is my factory bushing. Let's go make it better. Okay, the brake pedal is out. Don't ask me how, I do not know. So up here, this guy is the shaft that it was on. There's the master cylinder. This little white wiring harness plug goes into this guy right here, which I'm guessing is a, I don't know, brake position sensor, or who knows what. This was an absolute bear to get out. This is what she looks like. It's a pain. Never do this ever, ever, ever. Signed, me. So you got your shaft up there, master cylinder for the brake, a bunch of crap, everything sucks. Okay, bye. Okay, so we have gotten our pedals out of the car. Clutch pedal, definitely annoying, kind of a pain. Brake pedal, I can't even explain to you how much of a pain this was. At this point, definitely would not recommend. Anyway, now that we're at our workbench, it's time to see why we've subjected ourselves to this hellish treatment. So these are the factory bushings that came with our BMW. You can see they're kind of a split bushing, and they seat in there, you know, rather snug, but there's a fair amount of play, that looks like. So in the instance of our brake pedal, I've got these nice machined brass pieces. I think it's brass, I don't know, something like that. And those, you can see, are very nicely fitted into there with very little discernible play. Still some, I'll freely admit, but let's compare that to our factory bushings. And they're just, I can just bend those all over the place. Yep, so before we get too far down the line on bushings, I wanted to take a look at pedal covers. So I got these charming little pieces off of eBay, because you know that's how I roll. I thought I would see, while we have the pedals out, what it would take to get these fitted up onto here. So thus far, fitment appears to be eBay level quality, but I think it's something we can work with. And once we actually get these on, these seem like kind of a nice pedal. They've got a rubber backing piece, so it's just some cut aluminum. Seems like aluminum. And then this little molded rubber pad. You kind of sandwich them together as such. The rubber pad peeks out. It seems like it actually has a fair bit of traction against just your fingers, so I'm guessing your tennis shoes wouldn't be too shabby. And we're gonna see if we can't get these bad boys fitted onto the existing brake and clutch pedal. I think we might have to do a little bit of modification to them, but nothing too overly crazy. So I look at this first one, we've got a bit of a contour issue there. Maybe we'll break out the old vise and try to shape that a little bit. And likewise on the clutch pedal, we've got just a little bit of a deviation. Helps if you put them the right way up. And we've got a little bit of slop there, but it's closer. So I think we can work with these. They're not perfect by any stretch, but I think they'll be good enough. And yes, I realize they have this cheesy M logo. That would not have been my choice. However, these were the only ones in their price range for my particular vehicle. I realize it's not an M, and these are quote M parts. Whatever. Come at me in the comments. I do not care. So we're gonna do a little bit of custom fitting here after a fashion. So what I'm gonna do, I've got just a small cheap vise, not even bolted down. I don't think it'll have to be for this purpose. I'm going to put this guy inside of a cardboard sleeve, and that will help us protect what I'm sure is a very poor quality finish on these pedals from being completely destroyed by both the vise and the BFH that I'm about to hit these bad boys with. Just a general purpose BFH for all your bash and stuff needs. little bit more fancy than the standard factory pads, so I guess time will tell. Definitely much more snug than these factory split ones, which you can just see how much there's even kind of a belly to them. Yeah, that's going to make a big difference for sure. Okay, so we are back underneath the dash. We've got our new pedal bushings in. I'm very pleased with the brass ones for the brake. The clutch still leaves a bit to be desired, but I think that's just the nature of the beast with that one. Probably could have gone with brass there instead of the delrin and taken out some of that slack, but it's still markedly better than it was. My initial footage of the before was corrupted and couldn't be imported to the computer, so I guess you just have to take my word for it that this is an improvement over what was there previously. So the next bit we want to work on is to get the gas pedal off. Alright. There's that off, and then there is indeed a screw underneath. And then supposedly, you just lift that right off of there, and I'll be darned, there you go. Okay, so this is the only piece that's left of our little faux M pedal kit here. And the idea is this will go on here kinda sorta, a little something like that. It's not exactly perfect, let's say. Alright, so we're back from the workbench. We've got a little bit of an imperfect situation there with some overlap, but I think from the front, realistically where you're going to be, I don't think it'll look too shabby. So to do a quick little test fitment here. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. Let's be honest. Who's going to look that close anyway? Yeah, overall that'll do. We'll keep that out of there for now, just until we wrap up with our speaker replacement and some of the other activities we got going on. But overall, that is the process to replace the pedal covers and the bushings with a bunch of cheap crap off of eBay.